So many working Australians have a great relationship with their employer, and sometimes when injury strikes, there are those that are hesitant to make a claim for fear they are doing wrong by their employer. To clear things up, I'm going to run through who exactly pays workers' compensation in Australia and how it works, to hopefully put your mind at ease and help you determine what you're potentially entitled to. It's not uncommon at all for you to be hesitant to make a workers' compensation claim because you feel as though it will financially impact your employer or complicate the working relationship. But understanding the role of the workers' compensation system and how compensation is paid to you should put your mind at ease if you're having these thoughts. Firstly, let's take a look at how the system works. Workers' compensation is a type of insurance that most employers are required to take out to protect their employees in case of a workplace injury. This insurance policy would pay for any costs that an injured worker might face, like lost wages, medical and rehabilitation costs, and can even cover a lump sum payout in the case of permanent impairment. Workers' compensation covers you for any situation you're in because of work. This includes work events where your attendance is required, such as an off-site meeting, as well as working from home. When it comes to paying your workers' compensation, depending on what state you're in, payments will come from one of three ways: directly by the insurer, from the insurer through your employer, or by the workers' compensation regulator. It's important to realise that your employer is obligated to notify the insurer of any injuries or illnesses you suffer as a result of work. Then the insurer makes a call on compensation. Your employer cannot accept or decline the claim on their own. In terms of superannuation, typically you will not receive superannuation payments while you're on workers' compensation. You may receive up to 95% of your regular earnings, but it isn't common to receive superannuation as well. When it comes to leave, the rules can be different from state to state, but for the most part you're allowed to both take and accrue annual leave while you're on workers' compensation, as long as you remain an employee of the business. This includes maternity and paternity leave, just like if you were still working normally, though your entitlements may change depending on how long you're on workers' compensation. To give you a better understanding of workers' compensation and your entitlements, let's take a look at a real-life example. We recently represented a client who worked for a family-run cleaning company. He'd been employed for many years and was extremely fond of the family he worked for. Unfortunately, he suffered a serious back injury from constantly bending over and cleaning carpets. He stopped work and started to eat into his sick leave. He thought his back would get better with a bit of rest. Unfortunately, it didn't. He ran out of sick leave and he was on the verge of running out of money. When he contacted law partners, we discovered that his hesitation was around a desire to avoid any impact on his employer's business. Once we explained how the system worked and who actually pays the compensation, he felt comfortable to lodge his claim. The insurer accepted liability for the claim. They back-paid his lost wages and reimbursed him for medical expenses. He was able to get much-needed treatment and eventually return to work. Hopefully, this has been helpful to you. But if you're still unsure about workers' compensation or need help with your claim, call law partners and have a confidential conversation with one of our specialist workers' compensation lawyers today.